The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Scheduled programming to bring you a show on the edge, broadcasting worldwide and out to the greater universe. You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Welcome back, my friends, to another week of, you know what? What kind of schlock are we going to talk about this week, huh? What kind of happenings in the greater universe are going to hit the subject matter for the show tonight, right? That's what you're all thinking. That's why you're here, right? As you can hear, my voice is still not there. And because of that fact, we're going to kind of do a few things differently tonight. Hopefully you don't mind. But here in the first segment, we'll get into a few of the things going on, especially the early winter here in Michigan. I mean, it's a month and a half early, and here comes Mr. Snowman riding in on his high horse going, I'm going to put snow down there, and it's going to be cold for a week. Those days when you wish global warming actually was happening. Because it's been 20 degrees below normal already. And although the Farmer's Almanac suggested that it was going to be a mild winter here where I live, I don't know if that's going to... You can't trust anybody's word anymore. So I don't know if that's going to happen. And it's already started, and it's been cold. I mean, it was cold in Houston. They've already had record low temperatures. That climate change is a bugger, man. Just when you think the world's warming up, it starts cooling. Oh, boy. What are the people who are just like hell-bent on the global warming thing and rising CO2 causes the planet to warm and that's a bad thing? What are they going to do if the planet starts freezing? If we go deeper into an ice age, what if this interglacial period that we were in, who knows if we're in it anymore, the way winter is starting early. Oh, God, can you imagine what an ice age would feel like? I don't think anybody realizes that an ice age is so much worse than like getting warmer and having some kind of tropical period on the planet. Sure, there might be a little bit more water to use. That's not a terrible thing, just saying. But if everything starts freezing, folks, you can kiss it all goodbye. How are you going to eat if you can't grow anything? Luckily, we're so advanced we can grow inside now. I mean, and here in Michigan, we could just go to the pot dealers. They could expand their market by not only growing pot, but if we have a new ice age. I wonder whatever they would call the new ice age. I think it'd still be the Pliocene Quaternary glaciation, but they might call it something else. I don't know. Maybe those pot dealers can like start growing like green beans and broccoli and cauliflower, so we all can have some, organically hydroponically grown plants, because if it freezes over, if the planet decides to go into that ice age, we're not going to be able to grow anywhere. So that's my little rant on winter already. I can't stand it. If you've been listening through, all since I've been doing this, if you've been listening that long, then winter's not my favorite time of year. In fact, I'd be so fine with the planet just warming up. Where the average temperature here in Michigan is like 80 degrees. I'll take it. Maybe we'll have a couple 100 days. I don't care. I don't really care 100 days. But I don't want to see these minus 20s and minus. I mean, we had those it wasn't that long ago. And the people, I don't know how people can stand that cold weather. When It's like after about 20 degrees, it's really sucks. It sucks really bad. It starts getting chilly at 40. It's like, can we have an average temperature of 50 throughout the winter? That's what I'm saying. If we could find a way to terraform the planet in such a means that Michigan or wherever I live, maybe I just got to move somewhere that has that kind of climate, which I've considered. I have really considered the evacuation of the state of Michigan. And I was thinking that maybe if I could get like 25 or 30,000 people. I mean, since all the riffraff is being allowed into the country, maybe we get 20 or 30,000 people to buy into some third world country, buy a bunch of property, and then we could take over the government if we all move there at once, take over the government, restart the whole thing, should base it on the Constitution with a few adjustments, make it so you can't have socialism at all, and it's all on individual liberty and self-responsibility. Maybe one thing, we could watch America collapse upon itself and we'd be safe, and we just got to pick a country that has a good amount of resources that that people who have the know-how to do this sort of things, and who's just not letting all those resources go to waste. Maybe they should just buy into it. See, I'm not talking about invading a country physically. I just saying enough people buy a bunch of land in some third world country that's sending all these people to the United States because they don't want the riffraff. I mean, most of the riffraff will be gone. There'll be a lot of extra land for people with money, and you buy the country. It's just an idea. I'm a little old to be thinking about that. But you could be rich in a country like that. Like if you even you just a bunch of middle class people just pick up and leave. Say the heck with it. We're not cared about here in the United States. We all get together and we pitch in. We go to some third world country, we develop, and then we show them, hey, this is what you do. You don't waste your country. We fix this country. So, that's just an idea. I guess that would be somewhat frowned upon by some people. But I was considering that. I said, I wonder if we could do that, if there would be enough people who would just buy into a country, legally. You don't use force. You just go in there, and then when you have enough votes, you take over the government. And you just move in great enough numbers to be able to take over the government without force. You just people with money. Believe me, politicians. If you have money, you have money. Politicians in whatever country will do what you want, except for here in the States. They take your money and don't give us people in the middle any results at all. Yeah, you're gonna find out a little bit about that in the second and third segment, because I'm gonna give my voice is already, I can already tell it's starting to kick off here. So I'm going to play something that you guys haven't heard before, because there are times when I do record additional shows and I do not release them. I just hold them in wait in case I'm sick, in case of something. And I think it was back in September, it might have been late August, I put about 30 minutes of stuff together. I just had some things on my mind, and I was going to release it that week, and then I can't remember something. I think it was the Kavanaugh things came up, and I said, okay, well, I'll couch this, because it really wasn't recorded for the show anyways. It was just something that I might have done a YouTube video on at some point. And when you do those YouTube videos, sometimes, you do it in a process. You get the audio down, and then you gather up all the visuals to go along with it. And that takes a little time, and I never got around to it because I got busy. And with my dad passing away and getting sick, this thing's run into some, it's time consuming. So I'm going to play you that, and I'm just hoping you'll listen, and then I'll be back in the fourth segment to carry on, hopefully to just give this little chest thing. I tell you, folks, it's been a bugger. I'm over a month of not feeling that great, and no health insurance, no means of really getting any, and I don't make enough at anything I do, which is unfortunate. You blame that on myself, I guess. I should just focus on one thing, and screw the rest. I could go be a slave like the rest of the country. Just go and work for a corporation again and do whatever they tell me to do just to make it up the ladder, although I never made it up the ladder because they never gave me a chance. Even though you work so hard, John. You're one of our best workers. And that's probably why I never got promoted. Sometimes I think those things work in reverse, right? They promote the people that suck, but they like you personally. You suck, but you know what? I can manipulate you. I can get you to do whatever you want. Do this hard worker. We need him here. We need the hard worker there because we actually need something to get done so everybody else can get paid. I mean, I think it's all backwards at how corporations and companies think about promoting people. But maybe because I've always been overlooked, I have that viewpoint. It goes with a lot of other things too. It's like nobody appreciates the stuff I do anymore, and you get to the point where you're like, okay, well, should I be doing this stuff anymore? If nobody's going to appreciate it, I get like I said, I get more hate mail than I get praise by any people who glean anything from this broadcast. And hey, like I said, the haters, they're as loyal as you. I don't know if I know a more loyal. Maybe some kind of sports fan is more loyal to their niche, but haters of specific alternative talk radio, maybe it's just talk radio in general, they are loyal son of a guns, and you got to give them credit. I wish they would buy a t-shirt, but maybe I should say that's what I might do. Here's an epiphany right here on the radio, folks. I think I should just get shirts that say I hate John Lebang and the John Lebang Show, or something of that nature. And then my haters who hate me and who send me the wonderful emails I get on a regular basis from these people, maybe they'll buy some of them. Deport John Lebang. How about that? That sounds good. I might make a fortune at those. I never thought of it. See, everybody else promotes themselves like they're the greatest and the best. But see, since I have haters listening to me, I think maybe I should get the shirts that the haters will buy. I want to stab John Lebang in the eye. How's that? Think I can get $20 or $30 for a t-shirt that says that? A hoodie. I was thinking about some hoodies. Get it on there. Smack John Lebang in the face and then kick him while he's down. How's that? You like that? I think that's a good one. Because the ones that say, like, John Lebang is a cool show, those never sell. In fact, we're going to be doing some upgrades on the website soon, ladies and gentlemen, as I only have a few minutes before break here. And I didn't want to get into anything too deeply. We're going to be changing around the websites. I had a person comment that they couldn't find out how to purchase anything on the website, and that was because we are kind of changing things up right now, and hopefully the store page is better. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We really could use the support of people. We don't ask you to just give a donation. That's not what we're about. Just buy something from the store. We want you to get something out of it. And hopefully we have other little items that we are going to be able to sell here in the near future on the website, because we got to fund this operation somehow. And with that being said, folks, I think we're going to take a tiny little break. And on the other side of this, what you're going to hear is some musings of mine from back in August, September of this year. And then I'll be back with my raggedy old voice trying to hang in there. Stay tuned. Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going?
Hey, you, get back here.
The John Lebang Show will be right back.
Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-'70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births, and deaths, epic concerts and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled, and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
Hey man, you're listening to the John Lebang Show, man. The place where chronic brain cell rejuvenation happens. Feel like you're getting any smarter yet? Yeah. From the beginning, I was always leery of Donald Trump. Not in the way the left was leery of Donald Trump, not in the way the Republican base, those in the Republican base, were leery of Trump. I knew who he donated to. I knew who his friends were before he decided to run for president. He has ties to Hillary Clinton, Oprah, a whole number of different intellectuals and political figures. In many regards, he's an actor. So there's always been a part of me that has thought, well, maybe Donald Trump was a piece of the grander puzzle. You can say Donald Trump was independent of the power structure that existed prior to his presidency. He had dealings with many people in the so-called swamp. And because of that fact, I had reservations about Donald Trump. But I knew in my heart, we couldn't elect Hillary Clinton to the presidency. She was the wrong person due to her history, her husband's history, the dealings that they have had on a more conspiratorial side of things, the many close friends and associates that are no longer with us due to some kind of strange circumstance that led to their death. So I knew, as an American citizen, that I could not live with the fact, live with myself, if I didn't put a real effort into exposing Hillary Clinton for who she was. But I'm not the only person who is going to fight against Hillary. Not because we're men and she's a woman. Not because she's some minority, but because Hillary Clinton was and still is a dirty scumbag. The elites knew. The people who choose the people who then run for office to become the president, to become senators, to become representatives of the so-called people. They don't tell us which people they're talking about. They just say, we the people. It's like the word justice. There's not much justice unless you're part of them, and then it's just us. You see, these are master manipulators. They've studied all forms of social manipulation. They understand the human psyche better than anyone who has ever existed. So when they're getting ready for the next presidential election and they have to ensure their agenda, they make sure the successor to the office is on board with their agenda. They know there will be opposition to Hillary. Yet when you go back to the Democratic primary and the wave of people behind Bernie Sanders, and somehow, some way, Hillary Clinton won. Except we find out, in hindsight, looking back at it, that Hillary Clinton cheated her way to the nomination of the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders was ripped off, which allowed her to become the Democratic primary winner and candidate for the presidential election in 2016. Donald Trump, on the right side, on the Republican side, comes in out of nowhere. He's an outsider, quote unquote outsider. A Democrat would be an outsider as well inside the Republican Party. I want you to think about that. But he's so-called an outsider, and he wants to drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. This big campaign. Immigration, big campaign. Destroy terrorism, big campaign. That's the one thing the news isn't talking about, too. But we'll get to that. If you wanted to assure your agenda to continue to strive forward, you had to be in control of both the Democrat and Republican parties. If you wanted your agenda to succeed. So you go ahead. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. This is an unpopular concept. I understand. People do not want to believe certain things because they fall into that conspiracy realm. And when you talk to the people in the mainstream media, conspiracy is bad. Trump then wins the Republican primary, goes up against Hillary. We know there's an automatic opposition to Hillary because of her scumbaggery. The elite know this. The people that put Hillary in that position, whoever they may be, you can make it up yourself. They know there's going to be a massive opposition to Hillary Clinton. Then, for the sake of doing it to Donald Trump, they create a massive opposition to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, a TV guy, a hotel mogul, rich guy, but he financed and campaign contributioned many of the candidates on the left. And he was friends with them. He had dinner with Hillary and Bill. So if you want to ensure that your agenda, whatever it may be, is able to take hold, you definitely have to control both parties. Now, Donald Trump wins mainly because Hillary Clinton was a dirty scumbag, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter how much the media and the opposition from the George Soros groups gave Donald Trump, how much opposition to Donald Trump there was, because it was promoting Donald Trump. You know, there's a saying, all publicity, even bad publicity, is good publicity. I mean, I'm paraphrasing there. There's no bad publicity. Because if your name's getting out there, people are talking about you. And then people are going to choose sides on whatever they're talking about you. Now let's fast forward. Trump's president. Hillary, who had committed felony crimes, if it was any one of us, little people, who had done the deleting of emails, the smashing of phones, the bleaching of hard drives, all that stuff that Hillary Clinton did. The evidence is there, but with all that, Hillary Clinton's still able to go out there and talk her stuff. No criminal investigation on her. Not a single bit of criminal investigation on her. Can you imagine that? I mean, there's some hearings. But the Russian probe, who apparently started after the Hillary Clinton probe, they found Hillary didn't do it on purpose. I wonder if you and I didn't do that stuff on purpose, what would happen to us? Donald Trump gets in office. Now we get his agenda. First 100 days. That fell short. Sure, there was some executive orders that went through. Sure about that. We in the alternative media didn't like executive orders when Obama was doing it, when George Bush was doing it. But because the alternative media was the primary reason Donald Trump got elected, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, the alternative media was the main reason why Donald Trump got elected. We're going to say from Michael Savage down to all us little people here at the bottom. Monograph, John Lebang, all us little people. Even Alex Jones had a part in that. And many others. So Trump's big campaign thing was to put up the wall. Well, that's not up yet. Barely even started. I think they had a couple little displays they put up for Trump or some people to look at and go, which one do you want, sir? Which cool wall do you want? Just give me a cheap wall that's impenetrable. That's if I'm a person in one of those border states and we want a wall up, because that matters, ladies and gentlemen. The wall matters to only the people. I mean, the rest of us get the bleed over. But it is in those bordering states with Mexico that they're most concerned with, and that's where the wall is supposedly going to be built if it's ever built. We were supposed to get rid of Obamacare. Well, that's not gone either, ladies and gentlemen. Obamacare's still there. Oh, the mandate is gone through a tax cut that gave corporations a 14% reduction in their taxes, which was supposed to stimulate the economy and job growth. Which, by the government numbers, there's been a little of that. But we didn't believe government numbers when Obama was in office, and we didn't believe government numbers when Bush was in office. The tax cuts that the little guy was supposed to get came in the form of, child credits. So if you're lucky enough to have a child, which you already get bonuses for, that's what a tax credit is. It's a bonus for having kids. Each kid gets a tax credit of some sort. They get free education on top of that. Not bad for putting out some children, eh? Not bad. Of course, the people who don't have children, or their children are grown now, they don't get to see that benefit. So it affects a very small percentage of people. And that percent could be 50. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But it doesn't affect everybody. That's for sure. So that didn't go through either. Tax cut wasn't exactly what we thought it was going to be. Obamacare's still there. Nah, the mandate's gone for now. They can write it right back into the law. As soon as things change in Washington, which they're always changing, yet staying the same.
Don't move a muscle.
The John Lebang Show, right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes!
Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
So now this long-winded thing starts boiling down. And here comes the little bit of theory that I have. Because Donald Trump did say he's a little bit more like a Democrat than a Republican.
In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat.
One could say by his by his actions, he's a little bit of a socialist. If by just being a social media kind of guy. Because believe it or not, social media is part of socialism. Groupthink. But we can get past that. Because there are going to be people on the other side going, he's not a socialist, he's a capitalist. Well, as we've discussed before, you can't have socialism without some form of capitalism, because you've got to get the money for socialism from the people who generate income, the capitalist. The left can't work without the right. If there's no right, what is the left got to complain about? Have you ever thought of that? If there's no right, there's no wrong. And if you're on the right, you're wrong, according to the people on the left. I digress again. So we move past all this current history that is documented. We can look through it and we can see how it all works out. It's right there in the open. And during the administration of Donald Trump, the man who was elected by the alternative media, it was their first big win. Now we know, just by your voting records, but by all the people in the alternative media, by the videos you've made, by the websites you've created. We know where you guys stand. They do. I do. Everybody knows that. The mainstream media, the swamp, all know now who their enemies are. And they're starting to take out some of their enemies. Alex Jones. He's one of the biggest figures that have faced the wrath of the big boys, of the elites in all forms of media, social media, mainstream manufactured news media, the mainstream political parties. He's gone. Taken out. Attacked. Not by killing him, but by blocking him on all of his social platforms. Go search the internet. When you would talk about unpopular issues, you would search them in Google, like Hillary's lost emails. AJ's information would be right there at the top of Google. Boom, 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 boom. Now, they're not there. You get a lot of Snopes there. Get a lot of ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC. You're lucky to even find a Fox News on the first page. But all the alternative forms of media, all the alternative websites that covered all this, they're not on the front pages anymore. Those Google searches, not there. During the Donald Trump's administration, the man who was elected by this media. Now, one would think, if you're part of the duality, that it's those lousy Democrats, left-wingers that have done this. And you'd be partially right. But since the Republicans hold everything in the government as of right now, this shouldn't be happening. Except it's happening through the social media giants. Because there's no government oversight there. And I don't think there should be. People should be free to use their ideas the way they want, believe in what they want, promote with what they want, and on their stuff, the stuff that they own, they can allow people to come in that they want and say, no, we don't want other people doing that. We don't want other people. We're not going to allow other people, because of their voice, to do that. It's well within their right. But we in the alternative media sucked up all this social media stuff because it gave us a platform for a little while, didn't it? It gave us a platform for a little while. I remember when I would get tens of thousands of viewers on YouTube. Those were the days, folks. Those were the days, man. Little by little, those views started dropping. After Donald Trump was elected, they virtually disappeared. So I've, for the most part, stopped doing them. It isn't worth it to put out a video that takes 4 or 5 hours to produce, edit, to upload, if you're being blocked on your views. And when you go from tens of thousands of views to 20 views, it's not like you get the thumbs down. You don't get those thumbs down. See, if it was because you were giving an unpopular opinion, you'd get a lot of thumbs down. You'd have more thumbs downs than thumbs up, but some of us in this social media world, the alternative media, our views went away and we didn't get any thumbs down. There wasn't more thumbs down than thumbs up. And because some of us didn't have a voice the size of Alex Jones or Michael Savage or any of their brethren, there wasn't a whole lot we could do. We could complain, and they're just going to turn a blind eye because it's like, you're no big deal. You only had 20,000 views. You only had 30,000 views. And when you're talking on these social media platforms, especially things like YouTube, that's nothing. And you don't monetize your videos, and even if you could monetize your videos, we would take it away from you. They did that. They started with the little guys because they could do it. You guys weren't worth it. You guys aren't producing the views. So it's not worth it to have monetization. Somehow you click too much. Invalid clicking is a very generic term they used back in the day. They probably still do. Invalid clicking, that's a means of demonetizing you. Because back in the day when you would go to answer a comment, your damn video would play. And the advertisement would come up when you're watching your own video, which is totally stupid. But again, I digress. So during the age of Trump, his biggest supporters have been or are being silenced. The people that exposed so much truth during the election, so much truth after the election, are being silenced during the age of Trump. Hang with me, folks. We're almost there. Hang with me. And I'm not reading from some notes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing this off the top of my head because I know this information. I see what's going on. What if Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, what if Donald Trump's election, let's exclude that he's a puppet, just the election, the elites know Donald Trump has the alternative media behind them, the alternative world, the people that are their direct enemies. You allow Donald Trump to win one way or the other. You find a way to make it happen. You put up a candidate that couldn't win, wasn't worthy of the job, and should be in jail. That way she has a automatic opposition. You allow Trump to win so that you can expose everybody. Internally expose. In other words, get a picture on who your real enemies are. And then you just make sure Congress, the House and the Senate there, aren't very helpful at getting things done for the agenda. And at the least nefarious theory, in this least nefarious theory, best case scenario, all of us in the alternative media have been exposing ourselves. We've come out in the open and said, hey, we're for freedom. And then they pick out the 2 or 3 or 4 of the crazies and say that's all of us because they want to discredit us, the people who expose the truth and help get Donald elected. Now they know who we are. Now they're shutting us down, all in the age of Donald Trump. Now you tell me, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't that seem a little backwards? If it were the people who exposed the truth and helped get Trump elected were producing the truth, were showing evidence, they were the investigators, and now they're being targeted and eliminated. You've got to wonder, ladies and gentlemen, if it all was set up to get the opposition to the New World Order to expose themselves, to bring them out in the open so that they knew who to deal with. And now we're seeing the effects of it, and they're dealing with us. And there may never be another election in the history of this country, no matter how long it exists, that'll be affected by the alternative media, like the 2016 election. And with this Manafort and Cohen and Russian investigation that has produced no Russian collusion, it's produced a couple of tax cheats and a guy who pays off some whores. Because Donald Trump likes women. And if women are willing to sleep with him and his wife doesn't have a problem with it, why should you? Why should you? But Donald Trump is an actor, a TV guy. So there's a distinct possibility, because some of his comments in the past and the people who he's dealt with and the people who he's donated to in the past that he might have been a secret operative to take over the Republican Party and to destroy the people who still wanted America first. Because every time there's an attack on Donald Trump, it's an attack on every single person who voted for him. So if they take out Donald Trump, which that's the goal, and whether he's along for the ride or he's all alone trying to do this himself, in the long run, it boils down to this. If they take out Donald Trump, the entire alternative media, which is already being silenced, will be discredited even though they were producing the truth. Because the alternative media will have been silenced. The mainstream media will be producing all the information for people to digest. Doesn't mean it's accurate information. Doesn't mean they're telling the whole truth, because they rarely do that. So the intellectual, dishonest mainstream media is withholding valuable information to produce a narrative to help destroy not just Donald Trump, but the entire alternative media. You see, this is an attack on you. This is an attack on the alternative media, which it always has been. Chew on that.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back.
After this. That's guaranteed. Yes. Quality One Painting. For interior and exterior painting needs, call Tom at Quality One, 313-982-2986. Tom will give you free estimates, senior discounts, and I can tell you from meeting the gentleman, he's one of the nicest guys on the face of the planet. So for a quality paint job with a professional attitude, call Tom at Quality One Painting. That's 313-982-2986. 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting. You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's what's cool on radio.
You know, these people who do this stuff are master manipulators. And they are really good at dividing us. And I had when Donald Trump got elected, there was a little bit of me that was like, wow, I really thought America had woke up, wow. Not that Donald Trump was that great, but that they were walking away from the establishment pick in Mrs. Hillary Clinton there. But over the past, I don't know, at least 8 or 9 months, I've decided that America has sleep apnea when it comes to this realm of history. I just think they're asleep at the wheel, and you try to wake them up. You're like, "Come on, America! Come on, wake up now! Come on!" And they're like, "Huh?" And then they're like Mr. Bean in Rat Race. They just walk and it falls back asleep. So, and I don't know if we can change any of that. People would rather hear the mainstream manufactured news in place of the alternative media. And even if they did like the alternative media, now the mainstreamers are doing a really good job of silencing the alternative voices, because the mainstreamers own all the very popular platforms. And if you're not allowed to say your 2 cents, or if they're finding ways to keeping you out of the feed, and they're doing it not only with the alternative media, but even some of the smaller businesses now have to pay to get their voice out to enough people, because Facebook is more about making money now than they are about connecting people. That was their stated goal. Back in the early days, I remember Mark Zuckerberg, we're here about connecting people. Well, it's not about connecting people anymore. It's about paying to get connected. And that's fine. Every company has to make money. Once you're big enough, you're part of that giant clique And you only become part of that giant clique because you have a product the oligarchy want in circulation. And then when you're done with you, they find a way to move you off. And once social media has passed its thing here and it's run its course, they'll have some other means of controlling the population, having the information that they want put out. It sounds like we're complaining. The fake news was exposed by the alternative media. The alternative media gave out a lot of truth, and they highlighted, and they continue to highlight, the ones that were the crackpots of the group. You want to hear the headlines? We can go over the headlines because there's a lot of great headlines out there while we have some time. Household debt hits a record high of $13.5 trillion last quarter. Good job, America. Now you're in more debt than you've ever been. Last time that happened was a couple years into a presidency where the House and the Senate had changed over a little bit. And it only took a couple years for that kind of debt and the rising housing costs and the out-of-control stock market to all come crumbling down. I can't believe history is repeating itself, and it was like 11 years ago that this all happened before. And I'm scared, or I shouldn't say scared, because nothing scares me anymore. Nothing really surprises me. The American people are falling into the same exact bubble trap, financial ruin they did in 2007 and 2008. But what are you going to do about it? People have to learn on their own. You can't just sit down and tell them, hey, it's this way, and they're going to believe you. They believe what they want. What else is in the news? We have lab-grown organs. They're going rogue, folks. They're developing brain and muscle tissue. That's right. So the crazy scientists who we used to talk about a lot, these crazy, mad scientists who develop lab-grown organs, they do all these things that just don't seem very natural. And now these organs are starting to grow brains. So we're getting like mutating monsters. It's just science fiction. We have all these great science fiction movies, and it's like the science community, the only thing they learned from those sci-fi movies were, go ahead and do the experiment. They didn't learn that the experiments were always bad. They always went bad. So you got to wonder how intelligent these so-called scientists are. They learned nothing from sci-fi, nothing at all. All they saw was, oh, that's a cool idea. Let's try it. Nothing can go wrong for us. Well, what we've heard is that the Saudi crown prince ordered the assassination of that reporter, and that's what the CIA is saying. So that's interesting. Are we going to go to war with Saudi Arabia finally? If they're doing these dastardly deeds, we didn't go to war with them after 9/11, and it was mostly Saudi Arabians who were involved with that. Finally, ISIS has been defeated, or at least pushed back. But it looks like, Trump may take some credit for that, but it looks like the Russians actually got down to business, took care of ISIS, did our job for us. That's good. That's good. And the Russians are always the bad guy, even though they got rid of ISIS. Trump's going to take some credit for that because he's been in office, and no president can resist any beneficial news. I did it. I killed ISIS. Speaking of Trump, remember he was talking about those major, very major new tax cuts that were going to help the middle class, right? Well, they're not going to happen anymore. It's died a nice, quiet death. And it's never going to be resurrected now that the other party is in charge of all that. So goodbye to all that. I would expect the mandate be reinstated within 2 years. Probably the first thing they do is reinstate the mandate. And Trump's going to have no choice in the matter but to sign the crap because, hey, otherwise he's obstructing the government, Doesn't matter if the other party ever obstructs the government, but I can just see the headlines now. Trump doesn't sign budget plan. Shut down of the government. You can see it all just happening before our eyes. Just wonderful what the next couple years are going to produce. And then we have the election again. It never goes away. I don't even know how I'm going to deal with that stuff when it comes up. I have no idea because I was passionate about saving my country, but America's got sleep apnea. They wake up for a little bit. We got to do something. And then as soon as they did it, they're like, okay, we're done. Then you got to kick them to wake them up again. And there's no way to kick them anymore. There's very few ways to kick them. Because the people who own the platforms that would allow you to, wake the people up. Is it bad that I say kick them? I mean, Eric Holder said it, and nobody on the Democrat side at all made a big deal about it, that Eric Holder wanted to kick his enemies while they're down. So I'm allowed to say that, right? I mean, that's not breaking any bylaws. That's not like getting me in trouble. I better, is there anybody we can call to find out if I can say kick them on the radio? We don't want to make somebody upset now. Break some rule because it's unkosher. It's not politically correct for anybody except the big D's over there to say anything. We also have a video. This is great. Speaking of Trump again. Remember, we're supposed to, all these border troops on the wall. Yeah, border, parts of that caravan just climbing over the border fence. Yeah. Underlay, over the fence we go. I don't know where the troops are. Apparently they're not there. Apparently they're doing nothing about it. Apparently all the hoopla over the past few months about sending troops to the border and it doesn't matter because these people are just going to march right in. Like I said, if all the riffraff moves here, we might as well, the ones that are going to have to pay for all these people, might as well just buy into a third world country and take it over financially. I mean, that's what the international bankers do, right? Yeah, I guess if we develop the country too much, then somebody will want to invade it. We'll have to be like Israel. Everybody have to learn how to fight because you can't expect your neighbors to. That's just a terrible thing. You can't expect your neighbors to stay on their side of the border when you got something that they want. They're just going to climb the fence and take it. And if you do anything about it, you're the bad guy. I just love that mentality. It's just great. Well, folks, my voice has just about, sorry about that, run out. I've done my best this first hour. We'll be back in the second hour. We've got some, what would be called weirder news, some strange things to talk about in the second hour. Also a few skits. We're going to talk about our, we mentioned it real quick here. Don't forget to go to our John Lebang Show page on Facebook and get yourself involved in the voting for the best frontmen of all time competition. A lot of great things are, just some interesting results are happening, and we got a few more rounds to go. Everybody who votes will be entered into a drawing, and you're going to win something. Derek and I, Mr. Derek Shelmerdine, are working out a prize package that is worthy of our listeners. So we need you to go to that Facebook page, like the page, and vote on some of these, at least a couple. Get yourself involved. You can't win if you don't even vote, and it's so easy to vote. It's pitiful. Don't forget to go to our website. That's www.jlebang.com. Thank you to all of our affiliate stations and, of course, you, my listeners. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, I'm John Lebang, signing off for this week's first hour of The John Lebang Show. See you next hour.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.